All right, guys, hear me out. Hear me out. So obviously I ordered the Alibaba bike that was the EM5, and you guys absolutely love those videos, and I'm still working on content with that bike to make it go faster and all that kind of stuff. Well, I did it again and ordered another Alibaba e-bike. This is the EM22. So if you notice the name on the side of the bike, it's Valtinsu, and that is exactly the same company that I ordered the EM5 from that's sitting right over here. And if you guys haven't seen this series, go back and check it out. Now, I technically don't know anything about the EM22, and by the way, it's E-M22. I thought it was EM22, but anyways, looking at the box, looks pretty basic. It has one strap on it. It came to my door when I was actually on a vacation. I had to lift up my garage and tell the guy just to drop it off and sign it for me. This is what the side of the box looks like. I don't think they spelled that correctly down there. And yeah, there's really nothing on this side. It does say not suitable for children under 15. So I guess if you're under 15, you can't ride this thing. It came with one little puncture right here on the side. And I believe this side has a little bit of writing on it. So it tells you the carton size, the gross weight, and all that kind of fun stuff right there if you guys want to get those numbers. But yeah, I think I'm going to start unboxing this because I really want to see how this thing looks and get it assembled and test it out. Here we go. No wonder they told me this thing is super expensive to ship because it's on a metal pallet type of shit. I mean, there is no pallet underneath it, but it's a metal frame enclosing the bike. You don't see that too often on e-bikes that you get delivered to your house. So it looks like obviously this is the front wheel. Everything else looks completely assembled other than the handlebars got to be put on. The battery is probably in the bike. See the fender right here. Here is the battery charger. It looks like it's zip tied to this. So, man, I got a lot of work ahead of me. All right, let's get to doing this. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes since I started putting this thing together, and you can see that I only did one side of it right over here. This is not user-friendly for taking it apart and all that kind of stuff because now you have to dispose of this as well. You can also get cut. You might want power tools as well because there's so many bolts you have to take off of this thing, which made it nice though because that means my bike isn't damaged at all. Like nothing should have hit it unless the bike was punctured on the side or something like that. So that is nice, but I will say it is a process to get this thing out. You can also see the metal wires that were holding the rear wheel on the back of this frame. Lots of work to do, so I'm going to get the front wheel put on right now because this thing's gonna tip over any second. So once I get that on, hopefully I'll be able to take off the plastic and show it to you guys. All right, guys, well, she is on both wheels. I also had to put the rear suspension on. Basically what I did, I might have kept the clip in there. I laid it down on a blanket because this doesn't seem like it fits onto my bike like little stand over here because the way the frame is designed, it looked like the kickstand actually got in the way, so I wasn't able to put it on there. Anyways, let's show this thing to you. This is gonna be my first impression too. I think it's stuck underneath the wheel. But let's get this thing unwrapped. All right, I gotta say, I mean, looks pretty sick. What do you guys think? Drop a comment right now. Let me know. I mean, we still got a little bit of ways to go, but it's pretty nice. Now, something I will point out though, the one thing that I'm not a huge fan about is that this is all fake carbon and it doesn't look as great as just being like flat black. But the cool thing is these little Allens will come off on all these panels. This should pop out. You should be able to paint this whatever color you want or wrap it with your own skin on here. The main thing I wanted to do is sit on this thing because I basically bought this thing off the assumption that it's gonna feel kind of like a sports bike. And look at this. Look how low I sit on this thing. Oh, you can be a low rider and fit on this thing perfectly. Oh, heck yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping this is gonna be super fun, but let me get this thing finished put together though. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, she's all put together. I got the number plate on the front, we got the fender, we got the front wheel on. That's basically all you have to do is the front fender, the front wheel, and the rear suspension bolt that's right down here. You can kind of see our motor a little bit down there, and then you can see up there a little bit. There's really nothing behind here. Keep in mind, there is no taillight on this bike, I just noticed. There's only a headlight, and the headlight that's on this bike is actually from the Ghost Cat. It's the same one that the Ghost Cat has been using, and it should be a phenomenal headlight. There's just no brake light, so no one's gonna be able to see you if you are riding in front of them, so be a little careful. The brakes on this look similar to the EM5, however, the hardware is upgraded down here. Now, I don't know exactly the size of these rotors, but they look really massive and thick, and you can see how big our brakes are up here. The front fender is bolted really good with 3 bolts. Now, I'm not a whole fan of how all these bolts go because there's all these little Allens right here, so it's a pain in the ass to have to take them all off. I would have liked to seen less of that, but it is what it is. What I do like is that these are all stickers. You can take these off. These are stickers. You can take these off. And again, if you want to color it, do whatever you want, cool. The only thing I think is going to happen is if we take this thing apart, which I'll do in a second, I thought this would pop out, but I think it's bolted on the inside right here, so that's going to be unfortunate. The biggest thing I didn't like about this bike is a kickstand. I noticed after moving it multiple times, if I turn the wheel like this, it almost wants to like fall over. Like, I'm not kidding. So check this out. When I come over here, this bike is not leaning that far over. It's almost straight up and down, and I wanted to adjust that, but there's no adjustability on that kickstand. Here's a quick look up here, your buttons, everything like that, your display right here, which tilts, which is super nice. You can bring it towards you, you can angle it that way, or you can push it all the way back, and you can also adjust it based on the handlebar position or where you put that at, and you have a full twist throttle right here. On this side in the back are 17-inch wheels. This one's like 1.60 by 17, that's what it says on there. I have these things aired up to 30 PSI. They say they go up to 40 PSI, and that's cold temperature, but 30 PSI should give us a little bit more comfortability out of it. This is a 420/62 sprocket in the rear attached to that motor that you can actually see hangs pretty low, so the air should really get to that pretty good and cool it down. I would just be a little bit worried about the controller and the battery getting efficient air because it's all blocked off, but you can always make holes and modify this thing however you want, especially because it's super cheap. One thing I'm not a huge fan about, and I don't know if there's gonna be a problem on the ride when we go take it out for a spin, but this doesn't really lock. It's just hanging there, and I feel like it's gonna make a lot of noise on the ride, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that, maybe an O-ring or maybe just put tape on it. And this is really the only way you can charge this battery because you can't take it out. Now, I'm really curious to see after we take this panel off, and I'm gonna take a lot of this off right now, is to see if the battery is removable or where it's at. So that's what I'm getting started on right now, is taking this bike apart. So here's a look at the bike with it all taken apart, so you kind of get an idea of what we're working with, because I started noticing on the bike that you can't just remove this battery whenever you want. The battery is actually always going to stay connected and inside the bike because the battery is way down here. And also, check out this controller we have. It's a Hobby Wing controller. This kind of reminds me of the RC cars that I have over there. That's what we normally run, is a Hobby Wing controller. So the fact that this bike has a Hobby Wing controller, and by the way, real quick, I'll put a screenshot up of what that controller is because it has all the numbers on the side. I personally think I'm going to put a FAR-Driver controller in there. Now, the holes don't exactly match up, but we'll make it fit somehow. Obviously, the seat was very easy to get to. There's 2 bolts that are right here. I believe these are 10s or 12s. And then there's one up here that I believe is a 14 or a 13. It's different from these other 2, but it's just 3 bolts underneath and then it comes off. You can see our suspension down there. You can also see the motor at the very bottom. It's a Valtinsu motor. Don't exactly know what motor this is because the sides are blocked, so I can't see any numbers other than what it has on the top right there, but that just looks like the manufacturing date, to be honest. Now, moving on to the front over here, I also took this cover off, and it pretty much was kind of really bowed out, and then it swings underneath. Now, if it didn't swing underneath right here, I think you'd be able to modify a bracket and have it extended super far to get a bigger battery in here, because this battery now is 27 amp hours, and you can see that you do have room on the top, so if you really want a taller battery, I think if you do the measurements and send it to the company, I think you can go up to about like this high. Then you're either going to have to Velcro it down or modify that bracket or 3D print something just to hold it down from, you know, shaking loose. But you have a lot of room in there. And just for my curiosity, I grabbed the EM5 controller. Now, this is a FAR-Driver controller. It's exactly the same size as like a 300 or a 360 FAR-Driver controller. And I looked to see if it would fit And 100% it fits. The only thing is the holes, you would have to put it this way. See how the wires are coming out from the right-hand side? That's where the wires are gonna come out right here. So I think if you bolted it straight down, it looks like these match up. So this hole and this hole match up to this. However, you're not gonna be able to bolt it on this side. So you're either gonna zip tie it or maybe Velcro it, put something around it just to hold it down to this bracket. This is just a nice plate. You also have some rubber pieces right here. You put some 3M tape, something like that. So this would definitely work, and it will give you extra room for the wires coming through so they don't bind up or get too much like pinched in the corner. So you could definitely throw a far driver controller in here. You would definitely just have to change all of this stuff because I'm pretty sure all this button layout, the display, and the throttle is not gonna work on the far driver controller if you switch it out. But anyways, basically what I'm trying to say is it's cool because you can upgrade this thing. However, it's not as upgradable as the EM5 right out of the box. There's actually a lot more to do to this thing to make it go faster. All right, guys, so I got the bike put back together. There's a little bit of issues when trying to fit this all together. It's really tight because this really hugs up against this right here. So trying to get this bolt in the back lined up, it was literally like pushing it all the way forward and bending it as hard as I could to get it through that little hole in the bottom of the seat. And it looks like I have a little gap right here, so it's probably something I gotta fix and go back and work on, but we'll do that later. I put some tape right here on the side of the bike, so hopefully if this does rattle like I think it is, we'll take this tape off and put it on the top because I really don't want to hear that the whole time. But anyways, you guys want to see it perform, so I got it fully charged. It's the very next day, and we're gonna go take this thing out for a rip, and I hope it's a good buy. All right, so let's see. We turn it on with this top button, I assume. All right, it's in park mode. I noticed that we don't have to have any keys on this thing, so I guess someone could just get on your bike and push the button and go. And to take it out of park mode, I assume, okay, you just hold the brakes or maybe get it moving or something like that. All right, so we have our battery bars up here, max speed right there. Assistance is already in 3. Is that the highest we can go? Okay, so you don't have an assist 0, and it goes up to 3. This is our trip right here. This is our voltage, 67.1. This is a 60-volt e-bike. Has about 2,500 watts of power with that 27 amp hour battery down there. So I expect decent range out of this thing in the time that we've been on it. Oh, that's cool. This is the amps that we're going to be pushing through the controller. So as I get on it, okay, went up to 10 amps just right there. All right, that's good to know. Let's see what else we got. And that's it, goes back to odometer. So I actually think I want to keep it in voltage to see our voltage, which is basically a better way of checking our battery. Let's start in assist number 1 and see how that feels. It's rattling. What is that? Oh. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a problem. When I was testing it right before, I knew that was going to be a problem. All right, let's tape that up so we can get rid of that noise. By the way, it seemed like assist 1 takes me up to about 15 miles an hour. All right, let's see if that fixes the problem. All right, we should be good now. Let's bump it up into 2 and let's see what 2 takes us up to. Oh yeah, this is way better in 2. And this thing feels like a, oh, okay, it capped out right there at like 28 miles an hour. This sounds almost like a hub motor. This thing is quiet compared to the EM5 or the RTR Lite or the regular RTR. That's a lot better than having all that noise from the chain. Let's bump it up into 3. This is gonna give us our most power possible. I'm actually curious what the top speed is on this thing. It said 31 miles an hour or about 49, 50 kilometers per hour. And 37, 38. I think we stopped. 37 miles an hour. Yeah, I think we capped out. Let's do that again. Get back into power. Power feels really good. I mean, it's not crazy power. It's maybe a little tiny bit faster than the EM5, so I'll be real, I think the EM5 is a better buy right now. Let's see how it does this. All right, handled that bump pretty well. But yeah, about 37 miles an hour is our top speed. Now, one thing that you're either gonna love or hate, I love that the seat sits very low. I like that I feel like I'm low on the ground. I don't feel like I'm on 17-inch wheels. If I was sitting on my Surron sits way higher than this. My Talaria sits way higher than this. But you are very, very close to this. You're basically sitting on this fake gas tank thing that would be like on a gas motorcycle or something like that. It doesn't feel that comfortable, especially with not having jeans on or anything like that. I like that I feel like I can control it though, because I can use my legs to kind of maneuver the weight and everything like that. But I don't think it's gonna be comfortable for long rides the way you sit on this thing. I'm still so amazed on how quiet this thing is. I mean, yeah, I'm not hauling ass going 50 miles an hour, which I technically thought I was, but I mean, it's pretty just chilling, just laid back and quiet. You're not gonna really bother anyone too much. Let's get into this range really quick though. So I've only went 2 miles, but our voltage right now under full throttle is 63 volts flat. If I let off, it goes up to 64.8, 64.9, 65. Okay. All right. So we're going down a few volts. So we do have some voltage sag on this battery. I'm gonna say I don't think it's the best battery, you know, out there or anything like that. You can upgrade it for sure, but it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get to that battery every single time you wanna modify this bike and change the components out. Looks like we got some kids up here just chilling. What's up? Got a bunch of Tutios and everything like that. That's awesome, man. I guess it's gonna bring me into my next point real quick, is the fact that you can get a Tutio for $1,400 shipped to your door. And you can also get the Alibaba bike. It's not 650 bucks anymore plus the shipping, because it was originally like $850 shipped to your door. Now it's looking at about like $866 shipped to your door if you go on the website, use my discount code. It also works with this as well. You can get $200 off of this bike. However, I think I paid about $1,300 for this because I've been working with the company now that I put that first video out. But I bought this myself, keep in mind. It was 1,300 bucks, but I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, this thing's somewhere around 1,600 or 1,700 bucks, and then they give you like a $200 discount code. So it is not a very cheap bike. And I'm telling you, the EM5 is going to be just as fast or just as fun. One thing that's a little scary about this is we're gonna jump on a main road right now, and I don't have pedals, but I guess this thing would technically, you would wanna be in the bike lane. I don't think I would wanna be in the street because it's technically not fast enough to stay up with traffic. Everyone on this road is gonna be doing about like 45, 50 miles an hour. And with this controller, the Hobbywing controller, which goes in my RC cars, it's not tunable from my knowledge. I don't know anything about them. I try to search it up. I even tried to take the part number of the controller and search it online before we went on this ride to give you some information, and I couldn't find a single thing. So if anyone's smarter than me in the comments, please let me know if you can find something, because I want to see if there's a way to hook something up or Bluetooth that you can make this thing go faster. It should definitely go faster for a 60-volt electric bike. This is the same speed as the EM5, and that was 37 miles an hour out of the box. You can hop it up to 42 with one $20 dongle. So the fact that this thing is 60 volt, not even 52 volts, it's way higher than 48 volt, and it goes only this fast is, I'm not happy about it. I'm definitely not happy about it. Damn, that's a lot of traffic. Traffic, looking for my chapstick. Oh, I feel so weird being over here because like this looks straight up like it should be on the road, like a motorcycle, but it's not. I feel a little funny over here. I do gotta say though, going over all these roads, I mean, it is nice and comfortable, I gotta say. The seat, I love the shape of the seat. It will fit you really well like a sports bike would, like a motorcycle. The seat isn't comfortable though. But the seating position of it is awesome because you kind of sink into this bucket seat, and that's what makes it comfortable. But the suspension is actually pretty damn nice for what it is. Oh, that's a nice Tesla right there. I like it. And it handles pretty nice too. It does feel stiff though, I will say. You can kind of feel that the weight is a little high up and not the lower gravity. They could have definitely put that battery lower on the frame, but it still feels nice and planted. Now, does it feel like really easy to move around? Not really, unless I use my legs to kind of move this bike around, but it's all right for the most part. It's stock right now, it only does 38. Yeah, it's a cheap Alibaba bike. I'm telling you, man, people think this thing would probably haul ass the way it looks, but it's just a cheap Alibaba bike. That's all it is. And that's something I keep telling people is that, yes, Alibaba is scary. Only go with a trusted person that you know, either a YouTuber that you watch, or see if other people have gotten the bike first before you decide to go out and buy a bike. Because you can go on Alibaba right now and find an RTR Lite for $500. Actually, you can find the regular one, non-Lite, that's like $300 or $3,000 something dollars, but it's only $500 on Alibaba. That is a scam. Trust me, that is a scam. Don't worry though, because if you are buying these bikes using PayPal or something like that, you are protected by PayPal. So you don't have to worry about buying these bikes with the links that I have down in the description. I got my bike from the exact same company I got the EM5 for, so don't worry. But where I was going with that is just a simple fact that if you trust the source you're gonna buy it from and you get the bike for, let's say, $800, $900, this one could be probably like $1,400, $1,500 after using my discount code. It's not terribly a lot of money compared to like an RTR that's over $3,000 if you get this thing confiscated. Because that is the biggest thing I would worry about, is getting confiscated and you're out like $3,500. Instead of being out, if you buy the EM5 that uses my discount code, you will only be out like $900, and ow, that branch hurt my leg right now, Jesus Christ. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I know it's a lot of money at the end of the day, but it's not as much money, and you can ride a little bit more comfortably, being like, all right, well, if I get impounded, I'll make a video out of it, maybe make my money back on that video and buy another one. If I was riding my RTR right now, I'd be worried about getting that thing confiscated. I just put a 72-volt battery in there, and I bought the light, which was like $2,600, and the battery on top of it, even though I got it used. That's a $1,100, no, that's a $900 battery. So that's a lot of money, man. Let's see what our maximum top speed was. 37.52 miles per hour. All right, not bad, but yeah, I really wanted a little bit more out of this bike. I'm a little worried, to be honest, when riding this thing around this area, because it looks like a motorcycle. It doesn't look like an electric bike at all. All right, well, everyone seemed cool about it so far anyways. Yeah, that thing's pretty cool. I bet you anything, everyone that sees me riding this thing is probably like, oh my God, that must be a prototype or some shit. But I made a U-turn because we got 9 miles on the bike. That means I'm gonna put another 9 miles on it, and I don't even know the range this thing's gonna give us. I mean, 27 amp hours, you would think we're gonna get about, I would say, anywhere from 20 to 25 miles out of this thing. I think what would make this bike stand out a lot would be some supermotos. Let's show you real quick, next to this tree, the 0 to 30 time. Start right here, so you guys can get an idea how fast this thing picks up. So 1, 2, 3, that is full. There was a little bit of a dip in power. I don't know if that's because I was sitting on a little hill, but there we go, it's about 30 miles an hour. And the fact that the speed is pretty damn accurate to my GPS is perfect. This is actually probably reading more correctly than GPS, because GPS takes a little bit to come up. So I'm not too mad about that. So it actually probably hit 30 miles an hour faster than I originally said it did. Let's go, man. Woo, that was nice and smooth. The suspension's putting in some good work right now. Yeah, this car swerved around me, and then now I'm on the ass. But I'm turning anyway. Now we're gonna take a different route back. I'm kind of curious to see how it does up this hill. Now I want to stop at the very bottom of it and see how it picks me up this. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, it has a slight delay from like 1 to 2 miles an hour, then it gives you the power. But I mean, it still picks me up this, no problem. And we're gonna hit a bump right here. Oh, it goes right over that speed bump. It's nice and comfortable. Another speed bump. Yep. Not a single issue in my ass or nothing. Oh, and before someone asks, because I know someone's gonna drop a comment, what side are the brakes on? So the left side is the rear and the right side is the front. And I gotta say, the rear brake works a little bit better than the front. I don't know if there's different pads in the bag or just the way I'm pushing the brakes, but the rear definitely locks up a lot quicker. I love this little random street out here. It's just weird. It's just made for people to walk and do some exercises, but I take my motorcycle on it. Dead end. Dead end. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I not going out in the dirt and riding and stuff like that? Well, I wanted to save that for another video when we test it out in the dirt. This is just a quick, honestly, first impression, kind of turned into a video review, but I normally do my first impression unboxing videos, then a full-on blown review. Now the true test is see if this picks us up at the light. I am right in the middle where all the oil's at. It's not where I want to be, but this is where I need to be for it to pick me up. And no, it didn't. I had a feeling it wasn't, so I should have went before all this traffic came. So we're gonna blow through this red light because I am not about to sit here in 95-degree weather right now for very long. You know, one thing I always wanted to do was go through this neighborhood because I've never been through here. Considering all these people lived out here before all these new houses got built, and they're like, damn, we lived out in the middle of nowhere. And now we have like thousands of cars driving past our house every day. That must suck, man. Everyone has a big yard though. I love the driveways. Look how they have like circle driveways or enough to fit 10 cars. That is absolutely awesome. These guys are living out here. Really quick update on range. 13 miles, I'm down to 56.3 volts. When I let off, we go up to about 59.4. Oh man, we ended up at a gas station. I thought that was a cop at first. I was like, holy shit, let's just keep it moving. Oh, we got a dinosaur over here with a hat. Damn, is everyone pulling in here? Come on, man. Let an e-bike go through. I still feel so weird on the side of the road over here. One thing I gotta give this bike that I've noticed, obviously after almost 14 miles of riding, our top speed is still exactly the same. We're down to 2 battery bars, but like, that's pretty good, but this bike has to go faster. There's some way we gotta figure it out to go faster. I mean, it has to. It has 60 amps on the controller, and the battery should be about the same. It's probably 60 or 65, and it's 60 volt. Like, it should be going like probably 45, like 50 miles an hour almost. Now you can always change out the rear sprocket and I can lose torque, but this bike doesn't have as much torque as I was expecting. Out of the box, it's faster than the EM5, but once you start messing with the EM5 a little bit, you can get that going just as fast as this torque-wise. And if I switch out that sprocket, I'm gonna have no torque, or I'm gonna have less out of the box and maybe an extra 4 or 5 miles per hour. To me, I don't really think it's personally worth it until we get a little bit more power out of this thing. And because I don't know the Hobbywing controller, I don't even know if we can drop a 72 volt battery in this thing and if it would just work right off the bat. I have no idea. God damn, that's a big truck. Well, it's not as big as like a big rig, but damn, it's a little scary. Are they getting over? What are you doing? Learn how to turn, buddy. Now, when you're next to this thing on the road, then yes, you definitely want to be in the bike lane. Oh, what the hell? Come on, let me go. It's hot. It's hot. I wonder if it's because they pulled too far, because they went over the crosswalk. They're like halfway in the crosswalk. You gotta love how everyone looks at this thing, though, man. Everyone just breaks their neck. If they're into any type of vehicle, doesn't need to be electric or anything, everyone just looks at it like, what is that? That is cool. I think you're on the wrong side. I think that's if cars are parked over there or bikes are passing through. Man, this Ultima's all over the place. Yes, nice and smooth around that roundabout, man. That was clean. Brake test? God damn. That back locks up quick, man, real quick. That kind of took me by surprise. I squeezed them exactly the same pressure and the back just slid. All right, so well, in today's video, we're pretty much coming to the end. Doesn't look like we're gonna kill the battery. It did kind of better than I thought. Pushing 15.5 miles and we almost have a full 50. Yeah, we have 58 volts when I let off and about 55 volts when we're on it. So yeah, I would say with me being, I'm 5'9", I fit on it perfectly fine. It actually feels pretty big for me, and I'm 161 pounds, and I guarantee that you'll get 20 miles out of this thing if you rode exactly how I rode. If you ride a little bit slower and you go into like mode 1 or 2, you'll definitely get like 25, 30. It just really depends on your terrain and everything like that. That's the most asked question I get about range. So if you guys drop a comment, I'll like it, but I'm not gonna reply if you keep asking about the range because it's a big number to go off of. But if you rode how I rode in this video, guaranteed 20 miles. Now, my final thoughts on if we should upgrade this thing. For sure, I think a controller would be nice and just see how that works out. But I don't know about going full like 72. Maybe I'll take a battery off of one of my other bikes and throw it on this one. I don't think it's worth for me spending the money on this thing because I don't like the accessibility of always having to take these panels off, the controller, the wiring, all that kind of stupid crap you got to do to this thing. It's not as easy as the EM5. If you had to ask for my opinion, the EM5 is still the better bike to buy. This looks way better than the EM5 for sure. This is a badass bike to look at, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I'll let you guys know in the next video. We'll do a second video going off-road with this thing. Until then, guys, be safe. 16.3 miles to 58.2 volts. And yeah, she looking beautiful, man.